we'll have we'll have one main practical exercise, and if there's time, we'll get that concept map into an outline. Most of my work is with the Department of Defense, and most of it is in the special operations community, and teaching Green Berets and Rangers did not join the military to write good sentences, but it was a weakness. And so starting about 20 years ago, I've worked on some classes. And this is just a quick distillation of a lot of the work that I do. Here's our agenda today. Set just some norms, some Zoom norms, and then discuss why you guys individually are taking this class, and then why it's good to take it in general. And then I've seen some grants in the nonprofit arena that have some patterns of weaknesses, and I'm going to talk about them and maybe give you a couple of solutions. All right, this is important. This isn't about writing, but what is your elevator speech? So in 1 minute, describe your nonprofit, right? And then your favorite thing about Chaffee County, so I can get to know you. And so Joseph, you start. What's your elevator speech for the foundation?
Yeah. So the Chaffee County Community Foundation exists to leverage the power of philanthropy to achieve the common good here in Chaffee County. We do that by building capacity, both financially and technical assistance wise, with area nonprofits and small businesses.
Cool.
My favorite thing about Chaffee County, oh goodness. I would say
only one.
Yeah, I'm gonna sort of cheat and say that the holistic thing that is Chaffee County, which to me is that vibe that I feel very at peace, at home. I mean, I grew up here, so that helps. But you know, that sort of vibe where it's like, this is just a good place all through and through.
Right. Good vibe.
Yeah, good vibe.
How about you, Aubrey? Let's hear your elevator and then your favorite.
Sure. So I work for Southwest Conservation Corps. I'm the youth programs manager, so manage all of the high school trail crews that are we have one here in Chaffee County, and then a bunch in the San Luis Valley, and then one up in Park County. And it's really about leadership development and building job skills, a lot of those soft skills on top of getting them excited about working outside and giving back to their communities. My favorite thing about Chaffee County, I think, is the access to all of the trails and mountains, river, everything. I really like to bike and do long trail runs. So it's so beautiful and awesome here.
This is a good ecosystem for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, excellent. And Lee?
Leah.
Leah.
Yeah, I'm with Food Shed Alliance, and we are, our primary role is to facilitate the farmers markets for Salida and Buena Vista. But in that, we are working to help create a buy local food economy and help preserve the local agricultural heritage of this community. And my favorite thing about Chaffee County is probably just the relaxed nature of it.
Excellent. All three of you had great elevator speeches. They were brief, but they were also concrete. For example, Leah, you gave farmers market, buy local, and Aggie, and you did that in about 20 seconds. So all three of you had really good concrete elevator speeches. Excellent. All right, now I have to. All right, so why are each of you taking these classes? And Joseph, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you as well, because I know you have to write.
Yeah, I really enjoy writing, but I often am too verbose and use too many words. So I'm always looking for ways to and strategies to be more concise.
Excellent. Okay. Who wants to go next?
I'll go. So my role is shifting as our program grows, which is super exciting. I don't have the capacity to do everything anymore. So I'm moving more into the role of securing funding and doing big picture planning, and then there will be someone who works underneath me who does all the hiring and that kind of stuff. So this will be new, and I'm really excited to start grant writing. I really love writing, so yeah, I'm excited to learn more.
Excellent. And Leah.
Yeah, I would ditto both of those things. And I love creative writing. And so I want to figure out how to effectively write grants and still retain creativity. I don't, and if that's even possible, and probably it's not, but yeah, I don't want to just be a boring grant writer.
Right. And so, but you can bring in some of that innovation and maybe attention grabbing because you're a creative writer.
Yeah, I want to figure out how, but also retain the conciseness that Joseph talked about. I definitely like do too much, and I want to figure out what the necessities are.
Right. So you want to increase your brevity, because in general, most of the time, you have a very tight word or character limitation in your grants. Yeah, excellent. I love conciseness. And if you get a beautiful, concise sentence that explains a lot, it's very powerful to your readers. Here are a couple of things that I think it's important to take these classes, in addition to like your grammar and syntax, especially because you guys all seem to have leadership positions. It confirms you're a critical thinker. You can have a great idea, but if you can't put it onto a screen or a piece of paper, you may lose your volunteers, funding, your momentum within your community. It's only as good as your writing. Whoops, I wanted to highlight this. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this as big as I can. So, because I love highlighting with it's your organization is only as good as your writing. And that is particularly true because of COVID and how much writing that your writing is your voice right now. You're going to do it for the rest of your career, so don't fight it. You guys are here, so I don't worry so much about you. This is one of the assumptions that I want to talk about, that your audiences are busy, impatient, and distracted. That means both your funding, individual donor funding, so a letter of solicitation for funds on an individual level, but also the people who are using the grant readers and making the decisions from your foundations and states and nations. Well, nation is one, America. But if you go in with that mindset that they're busy, impatient, and distracted, it really shapes your writing to keep them engaged in your proposal. And you're judged, not too harshly, but you are judged by what you create in the word. Yeah. If you're still not persuaded, do it for your recipients. Do good writing for your recipient's sake, because then your nonprofit can still exist. And I will prove to you with some of the steps that I have, is that you will actually save time and have a better project if you do brain dumping, organizing, and then sentences. Does anybody have any questions about those or want to add to it? Nope, and nope. Okay. You expose some vulnerabilities when you write, and when you write collaboratively. And so I want you to know that you know how to write, Leah specifically in a creative way, but you may not know efficient ways to write grants. Don't take things personally in your review process, both in this little group, but as well with your group as you work on writing as a team, which I love. You guys are experts in each of your areas. This way you can become more influential, both to three audiences. Those funding sources at the institutional level, endowments and states funding, solicitation to individual donors, if that's what you do, and then to your community. For Aubrey, it could be being a more effective email writer for those high school students to keep them engaged and to remind them what they need to do and where, because they're a special audience. It could be a letter to the editor to the Mountain Mail, Leah, or Joseph. So you be influenced with good writing. I want you to save some of these early writings that you have so that in a month or a year, you can go back and you will be able to see your growth. I hope that you do that. And then if you're like me, you can be mortified by what you've created in the past, but it's out there and it's who we are. And then Joseph is going to send you just a 2-page Word doc with the content that I want you to keep, and that's called a writing guide. It's still in a draft form because you guys are the first people I've brought this to. Is anybody concerned about other people reviewing your sentences? Does anybody have a vulnerability that they worry about? Aubrey, you're nodding yes. No? No. What about you, Leah?
I would say, like, I definitely am a really passionate person, and I don't have a good gauge on what is, I guess, too much, maybe.
Right. So, right, sometimes passion, enthusiasm, they're in general great assets, but sometimes they might get in the way.
Yeah.
Yep, okay, got it. All right, you see 3 points here. Today, we're going to do the 2 black dots. We're going to address 2 concerns in general for grant writing for nonprofits. The one that's gray, Joseph and this is our first one, and so if this goes well, we're going to make it a series, and we're going to talk about a really good sentence in our next little webinar. So in general, when I help with local nonprofits and as well as across the nation, they lack critical thinking, and I know exactly why they lack critical thinking. It's because you guys are busy, very, very busy, and you didn't either volunteer or become employed with your different organizations to write grants. You have a passion about the Conservation Corps, Community Foundation, or the Food Shed Alliance, not a sentence. And so you're rushed. This isn't the most important thing or most fun thing that you're doing. And so what happens is you start writing right away, in general. So Aubrey, have you found that might be the case about how you guys approach your grant writing?
Yeah, I think the last grant I put in, I just like started going and then realized that was not the most effective way and went back
Right.
and then did a brain dump.
Right, exactly. Okay, good to see it. The second point is that the actual writing product that you submit could be more organized, and that's an outline. So if you see these 2 ideas of a brain dump, I'm using the concept map because it's the most common. The brain dump and the organization, those are not earth-shattering ideas. But, we started doing those in 2nd grade, but because we're hurried, we will skip those and just start writing. I contend that even by adding these 2 steps versus just dropping in and writing, you will save time, but you will also have a better product and increase your chance of, percentage of win, P-win. So we're going to talk about those 2 things today. I use the concept map because that's what I learned in grade school, and it's also a common curricular thing that most Americans learned the concept map at some point in grade school. It makes sure you have that critical thinking, but I want to let you know that you can use other tools. Is anybody in your organization, or are you a verbal processor? Meaning you have to talk it through. Joseph, no? No. In general, women tend to be this more than men. So know in your organization who is a verbal processor, and as a leader, you may have to listen. And you may be the note taker on the dry board or a piece of paper to help them synthesize what they're thinking and wanting to do. There are some apps for iPads or for computers, tablets or computers that you can use. And it's interesting, some people who are visual And artistic, maybe like to use my iPad. There's a, like Mind Maple is one that I like. And it's interesting to see, particularly when I'm with special operators, some of them, it'll just be drawn to them because they're thinking as they're using these really fun applications. There's forms that you can use to do your critical thinking. And if you want, I have them, and I would love to share them with you with email. If you want to form some of our grids, they will ask questions, or there's like pre-formed areas. And then the last one is my favorite, group design. It's idealistic when everybody's really busy, but over a Zoom or over once on the other side of COVID, over coffee, over a beer, in a set time with your volunteers, using group design is really helpful because they'll have ideas that you might not have. I encourage a collaborative writing environment. It's hard to do, but we can talk about how you gather in reviewers to first review what you have created and then slowly giving them autonomy over different sections if you're interested. So I'm going to just show you a concept map that I use as an example for a certain group of Department of Defense people. I didn't make up a different one. So here's Jodi Life NCOER, NCO Non-Commissioned Officer Evaluation Report. So they have to do one every year. And so this is an example of something that I don't care what the content is. I just want you to practice the idea. So an NCOER, what have I done in the last year that's worthwhile, that might make me stand out in a competitive promotion environment in the Army or interagency, actually. So this is me. This is not what it looks like when I make a concept map, but it is, I cleaned it up a little bit. So what is it that makes me different, makes me from other humans, or in your case, at other nonprofits? I wanted to talk about my character, my presence both with my family and my community, how I'm growing my intellect, and then how I develop others, right? And so I'm just thinking out loud. So presence, we have 3 boys. They're all young adults. 2 are in college and 1 is out on his own. And but we had all 5 of us here. And so I was present for fitness. They were not that into me being out in what we called prison gym, which is our backyard gym. But I was there for them, just being involved with them, and resilience, meaning I wasn't breaking down. I was kind of setting an adult model for how you can behave in a pandemic. And then I just kept going here. I started developing ideas. How am I innovating? How am I improving my expertise down here? When on the screen, can you guys see my mouse circling expertise? Yeah, so you know where I'm talking. And I just started thinking more. It doesn't have to be neat. Here, how do I develop others? Here, it's I develop others in grant writing, but I'm also creating an esprit de corps. So SMAMS is super middle-aged moms. It's a social circle that are mostly cross-country moms from that I met during my kids. 8th grade moms makes sense. We met during the 8th grade year. So usually when people write is they'll get to develop others in an esprit de corps or grant writing, but they don't take it to the next level. And the next level is what I'm talking about. It's the concrete level from taking what you do as an organization and giving a concrete example to tether that grant to you. For example, Leah, you said the 3 things: farmers market, buying local, and agricultural heritage. That is getting all the way to what I call getting all the way to the green. This is where the critical thinking becomes important. So I have helped in the past, FYI, they have their own grant writer now. Well, Sam does a lot of other things. Full Circle Restorative Justice is a concrete example. So when you know me, just from looking at this concept map, I develop others. But what does that mean? Full Circle Restorative Justice got a $500,000 grant because I helped Kimberly Parker with her sentence structure, with her critical thinking, and with her organization. This is what I want you to do, is to get all the way to the green. Now, you have limited space, so you have to prioritize. If you want to get all the way to the green, you can't say everything that's awesome in your organization. Two things have to happen. One, answer the question and the prompt. And number two, prioritize. What's most important? Here, I'm starting to cross things off. Here, maybe it's not important for my kids to see the resilience. Maybe the discipline with the iCal, frankly, the boys blew it off. So that's why I put the X on it. Didn't work. Nobody's telling me what they're doing. So let's just go ahead and X it off. SMAMs might be more interesting. It was not more interesting, but I've had more effectiveness with the SMAM circle than the 8th grade mom circle, so I can have more concrete things to talk about. Aubrey, you might have one of your high school tribes might be more effective. So you can say I have, Lake County, Fremont County, San Luis Valley, BV, and Salida High School. BV may be the one that you want to highlight because they are doing a better job, whatever it is. So you can say you have all of these programs, but you can highlight a specific example of what this high school troop, what do you call it, a team? You call it
A crew.
A crew. There, thank you. So let me highlight this crew. You may be one deep on an effective crew, but they don't know it. You have other crews, but this one's so shine a light on that one. That's exactly what I did here. SMAMs have more examples than 8th grade moms. So I just made a choice. Do you guys see how time spent on this, growing through this process, can be useful? Yeah? Does anybody do this? No. Okay. Do you like the idea of a concept map, or do you have a different approach?
I mean, personally, I love the idea of a concept map, and I've used them more in the planning arena of like, oh, there's this need and we want to do something to address that need. So let's concept map the different branches of need or different ways we could approach that. But I think, just as you said before, I end up being too tight on time, or at least I feel like I am, to take a moment to do this step when I'm looking at writing down some sort of, description of something or something like that.
Right. I contend that you can use a Post-it note and a concept map for an email. You can use the concept map for your strategies, Joseph, like what are our needs, where are our weaknesses, but it can go all the way down to an email. Certainly use it for a fundraising email or letter solicitation, and always use it for a grant proposal. Within, if you have your grant, you look at your big grant area, right? And you have to do 4 sections. You create 4 circles, and then you make sure that you have all of the good things that you're doing, all of the high need that you have. You may not have room for it in need, but you may have room for it in a underserved population section of a grant. And so you make sure you highlight all of the things that you have. You don't want to double down, and if you've already addressed something over in presence, you don't have to restate it down in intellect or whatever those topics are. So it helps you organize. Aubrey or Lee, do you have a different approach to get this brain dump happening?
I feel like just like writing different words down, and I think I just need to be better about this organization type of thing.
Right. Do you use it on a screen or a piece of paper when you write those words down?
Typically paper.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting, because you're a millennial, I would guess, and so it's kind of, I'm a digital immigrant as an Xer, and so I have to work hard on that digital stuff. Leah, how about you? How do you do your critical thinking?
I guess I like do more like I write it and then and then walk away and think on it a little bit, and then go back and then think on it. And I guess I just, I can't do it in one sitting.
Okay, so patience with yourself.
So I guess I do internal processing.
Yeah.
But I definitely, like, writing it down would be easier like this. I need to, it'd be helpful if it was all on one paper.
Right. Okay, if you can have it contained in some area.
Yeah.
My husband his name is Brian, and we have thought about the concept map for 25 years. Well, no, 23 years, because the last couple years, I said I will no longer review any of your writing products unless you do this, because I was taking on the burden of getting to the green with concrete things and organization. And so he did it, and his writing is better, but more importantly, it's faster, and we're still married. So that works out. Now, the next step, if you look up here, it lacks critical thinking. So the brain dump, which I showed you as the concept map, gets you that critical thinking. But now it needs to be organized. Why does it need to be organized? Because in general, the readers are all busy, impatient, and distracted. If you respect their time and their intellect, they will keep reading, and your goal is to keep them reading. So how do we transition from this mess to an outline? It's really a style choice. It's a style choice. You can prioritize. Here's how I did it. I took and I tried to use the colors. So I'm going to prioritize the blue, the blue things are my ideas. How do I want to put what order do I want to put them in? Do I want to do individually, my character, and then my presence within my little family, and then my intellectual influence and my developing others? Do I want to go from me as an individual to others? Or you could easily do it the other way around. I could say, hey, this is my most important component for my annual report to my boss. It's a style choice. So here you can see I have a triangle. Here I started at the individual level, and then I increased my presence in my little family of 5, and then larger community things like my knitting and mandolin playing, with the bigger parts of the community, and then developing others. It's a style choice, and there's no right answer on what to do. But here's what's interesting. If you do this kind of triangle with your outline, like I did, continue with this kind of triangle within the subsets. Does that make sense? But they will inherently understand that pattern, and they will appreciate that pattern is being repeated within character, presence, intellects, develops. Be consistent with that pattern. I like starting with the big stuff that you do very best, with a defense contract proposal or with a grant proposal, because they may not read the whole thing. They're still humans, and they're busy and impatient. And if you give them their big thing at the beginning, they may not get to the second page, but they found what you did best. Over here is, I think that you guys are maybe persuaded, but it keeps you focused. An outline keeps you focused. You've done your critical thinking and you've done your organization. So then when you're writing, here's where the time saving comes, is you don't have to think anymore. You can focus on that sentence. Okay, you can focus on that sentence. It keeps you focused on your writing. We got 2 out of 3 want to increase their brevity, follow your outline. Right? Helps the reader, right? You're holding their hand. They will understand where you're going. It's super important when you have that limited space, that little block in that online application. You hold the reader's hand and you tell them exactly, you answer that question exactly and efficiently, and you get that from your outline. Lastly, it will save you time. At this point, it's just how I write. It's how I write an email, Joseph, reaching out to you. I had my Post-it note and I'm like, all right, what does he want to know? what should I prioritize first? And it saves times and I get it out there, and he listened to me. Does anybody have any questions about an outline? I want to show you a couple of examples. I apologize. These are military examples. I do have examples of, in fact, local Full Circle, FYI, the Alliance, Elevate Her. I have those examples, but I just didn't have the time to get them on here. So you're having all military examples. The content isn't what's relevant. So this is an example of an Army major who has a one-year school. And I asked them, when I was teaching them exactly the content I'm teaching you, but in an academic setting, what are your goals? And I like these because it's concrete. So Carl is the Combined Arms Center Resource Library or something like that. They have a speed reading class. This is a good example of being concrete. What are these Mondays? I don't know what they are, but I think it's a language. Yeah, what is he? Is he Arabic? Yeah, Arabic. So these are the great examples of tethering it to this soldier versus another soldier. Any soldier can be time management, reading quickly, and writing well. But you know that this soldier wants to take the speed reading class, listen to his assigned readings, and set concrete resting times. You have a better example of who this person is because there's concrete example. Speaking, consuming, and studying could be any soldier during CGSC, truly, because they have to go and take their language test when they leave. But how is he or she going to do that? 30 minutes a week with an audiobook in that language. Mondays, which means, I'm guessing what this means down here is the same people who speak Arabic in their small group, having them work on Arabic on Mondays. That's what I'm guessing that is. Do you see the difference of just the blue versus having a sentence after the blue that says, for example, comma? In general, you cannot get to the orange without the concept map. In general, every applicant will probably have similar components in the blue. But the orange, or in my case, it's green here, it's orange for this soldier. That's what tethers that grant to you. They see what you've already done and they see what you hope to do. Very, very persuasive. Here's this guy already went from concept map to outline. This is a non-commissioned officer, an enlisted man who is senior, and he has goals to go to Jump Master School, Air Assault School, and Senior Leader course. And he walked up to me in our physical class and he's like, here's my outline. It is organized, it's concrete, but it's not detailed enough. He didn't get to the green. So I said, don't go to here until I approve your concept map, right? And so he didn't listen, and he came and he said, okay, Jodi needs more details. So Jump Master, how am I going to meet this goal of going to Jump Master School, right? I'm going to talk with others. I'm going to study. Well, look at these questions. Look at these points. Find a graduate and write down the questions and ask the questions. What do you think? What's weak about that?
It's super generic.
Super generic.
Yeah, you don't know what questions are.
Right. It could be anybody wanting to go to Jump Master School. And what are the questions? So in his concept map, he can take the time to think about what those questions are. So finally, after a very, very, very messy concept map, ask the questions. And these are the questions that he prioritized. You're going to study. How are you going to study? So he's going to study 3 hours in the evening and 1 hour in the morning. And he's going to find a study group. I would probably have pressed him on the study group. Who does he want? Does he want people that are in 10th Special Forces group at where he's from? Or can he do it with his friends or his, not necessarily friends, his colleagues that also are going to want to go to Air Assault School? So this is the growth that will change, that will increase your chance of winning. This is acceptable, meaning it passes the compliance, but it's not going to persuade anyone that you're better than your competitors. This is growth, but this is what the difference is. This is what the difference is. Okay, so we have, when are we finishing this class, Joseph?
It was advertised until 10:30, I believe.
Oh, till 10:30?
Or maybe.
Okay, well, I don't know. Okay, let's do, I thought it was an hour. So what I would like you to do is to get a piece of paper and pencil, and I want you to concept map your organization's strengths. We have 20 minutes because I think I can look at it and see if you've gotten all the way to the green, and then, so spend about 15 minutes on that, and then 5 minutes on an outline. Now, if you want to change this to something that you're working on, like your mission statement, or how you address underserved populations, or your diversity statement that are boilerplates for grants, write whatever you want. But if you don't have a topic, you can write about your organization's strengths. Does anybody have any questions? No? Okay, I'm going to give you, let's do 10 minutes so then I can look at them. You can hold them up to me and I can give you a couple of challenges so you'll have 5 minutes to come back. Okay? I'm going to, how do I unshare my screen?
There should be a little red button right at the very top of your screen that says stop sharing. Kind of in the middle bar at the top.
Thank you. I have you guys. Ah, there it is. Okay. I'm going to be quiet and let you think. You are halfway through your 10 minutes. And if you feel you're ready, you can show me at any time.
Okay, I'll do mine.
What you got, Leah?
I apologize in advance because like I am not a linear thinker at all. So
Well, good. That's an asset that you're not linear.
here's mine basically. I just have Food Chain Alliance in the center. I have surrounding it like I don't even understand. I'm not sure if this is even correct because I feel like all of my thoughts have so much detail that must be implied or must be communicated to have any sort of understanding, right?
Right.
So I'm not sure if that. Okay, I have that our strengths are our farmer vendors, the fact that food is essential, longevity in the community. We have a very simple framework for how we operate. And we have a large set of internal assets.
Okay. Now, from each of those 5, did you give an example or did you tell a story on any of those?
Yeah. So for example, I said, like the fact that food is essential, that it means that we can and we must serve all members of the community, right? We have access to all different stakeholders because food is like a uniting force with everybody.
Excellent.
I said that because food is essential, it means that we have a really low barrier to entry with people because it's a very uniting force, right?
Very uniting, yes.
And that food trickles down. Even though Reagan economics doesn't trickle down, food does trickle down, right? It imparts care right away, and so yeah, it's just like this very it's a very boots on the ground approach to caring about people, essentially.
Right, it demonstrates care. I would contend that you could say, for example,
Okay.
And then give an example of a story about
Okay.
how maybe someone was uncomfortable with their food need, but then they saw the grace and they saw the human exchange. I don't know what the story is with this sharing of food. Right.
So I wonder, so one thing I wonder about that kind of thing is like in this day and age of like however, you know, like how much needs to be explained in a grant? Like to me, that is very, everybody has those stories, right? And do grant people, do they really need that proof, I guess? Do they have a good part?
Right.
Or
if it's a grant that's specific to what you do, that's food-based, agricultural, food market, and food sharing, no. But if it's a METAB grant, yes.
Okay.
You know, our
like,
local marijuana excise tax grant,
okay,
right?
Okay.
Right. And so here's why I asked that specific question is those 5 strengths that you have, I think it was 5, that you, when you're writing your grant and you have 6 sections or 4 sections, those strengths, you have to find a home for them, regardless of what the question is.
Okay.
Okay? All right. Do you have, Leah, do you have an example of that simple framework by chance?
Of the simple framework
your organization
of what we run. Yeah, like I just feel like the way we make our money is we help farmers sell their product, right?
And so, you know, if you're in a grant, you can have a little call out box in Word,
Okay.
depending on what, if it's online, if they will allow for that or something, if it can dump in there, a call out box of names of the farmers that you aid in helping that and helping sell their products or whatever it is.
Okay.
Okay. But that's a good example of your streamlined process.
What is a call out box?
That's what I call it. So here's your document, right? And you're talking about all of this stuff. You can have a square that's in a different shade of color. Most of the time you submit it, if you submit it electronically, some of the grant writing applications on the internet, you might not be able to do this, but then you just put the farmers and it's a different color.
Okay.
Because if they're busy, distracted, and impatient, they want to know who you help. Gosh, this is the ag side of who you help. And it's a different color. So a call out box. Just an idea.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah. Aubrey, what do you have?
Yeah, so in the center, SEC youth programming, and then my outer boxes, youth development, community and civic engagement, environmental stewardship, and local partnerships.
Okay.
And then for youth development, there were a lot that branched off: resiliency, leadership, healthy outlets, job pathways, teamwork, community, communication, conflict resolution. For local partnerships, we work with a lot of different organizations to recruit underserved youth and help other local agencies, whether they're nonprofit, Forest Service, BLM, complete project work. We have local champions that come in and do education days to help empower youth to pursue careers in outdoor fields, and gear donations from local partnerships.
Oh, okay. If you had to cut one, which one would you cut?
A big picture or the four?
Yeah, if you could only have three, which one would you cut?
I would probably cut environmental stewardship because that probably falls under youth development, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, there's no right answer, but it's the critical thinking that you have to do. Like, so which one's your most important one?
Youth development.
Okay. And under that, do you have a youth that you could use as an example?
Yes,
Yeah.
many youth. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, excellent. And then how about, could you do a call out box of gear donators?
Yep.
Okay, so that would be getting to the green, is highlighting a youth that maybe could encompass all of the youth development goals or a different youth per goal. Depends on how much space you have and how efficient you are. Yeah, okay. And the critical thinking, if I could only have three, you were able to do that. They're all important, but you have to cut something.
Right.
And then if you have those four strengths, just like I said to Leah, make sure you're able to, those strengths are all highlighted regardless of the question that they ask you. Yeah. And that comes in when you have your outline for each section. You're like, okay, where's my strength? Okay. Yeah. All right, Joseph, your turn.
All right. I took a little bit of a different focus, not on CCCF strengths, but on our new program, Chafee Commons, because I'm thinking about how to communicate about that program right now. Cool. We've held a couple focus groups and it's gotten good feedback, but it's still a lot. It feels like a lot to try to convey, not necessarily for a grant application, but just in general, like especially to nonprofits. How are we communicating? Yeah. So, right. Primary benefits or primary things that we want the program to accomplish for nonprofits is 1, building their capacity, 2, lowering their burden or administrative burden, and 3, allowing them to focus more on their mission. And then kind of within each of those, at least during the time allotted, I got, kind of a couple more layers. So under build capacity, offering new platforms that they might not currently have access to resources, and then within each one of those, having a little bit more detail, access to resources. For example, I have you listed, Jodi, as
Okay, yeah,
someone
so
who's
that's the
there,
green. That's the
right?
green.
So, yeah, getting to the green and kind of specifying what those resources are. And then, you know, I think part of what's challenging for me in thinking about this program is that all these are connected, right? This building capacity, lowering burden, and increasing mission focus. Those are all very much connected. And so how do I appropriately compartmentalize or focus on one while wanting the reader to make the connections with the other, right?
Right,
So those are
right.
just the things on my mind.
You could almost say, like, if you decrease the burden, our goal is to decrease your burden. And we do that by increasing these capacities. And then you gave a concrete one, because I was going to say, what are resources, you know? And then the advantage is it allows you to focus on your mission. Yeah. The simple goal of Chaffee Commons is to decrease the administrative burden, right?
Yep.
And so with these capacities that you're outlining, and then the advantage, the goal is to allow you to focus on your mission. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had some concrete things in there. And I can see your pup who's taking a nap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. You guys all got to the green, and it was just in 10 minutes. We only have 1 minute left. So if you don't have to do this, but I have homework for you. I would like you to make an outline for me from that concept map. Okay. I want you to put, and you decide if you want to put your most important strength first, or if you want to build from internally, an internal organization, and go out from there. You get to decide. Here's my email address right here. So in addition to that outline, would you please give me 3 up and 3 down? This is the first time that Joseph and I did this. What went well? What could be improved? And then Joseph and I are thinking about that if we do this again, if you guys think it's useful, and if Joseph does, the next class would be, we would get in the weeds of grammar and syntax, like a very good active voice, power verb, persuasive sentence would be the next one. Okay.
Could I just get a quick thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down from Aubrey and Leah about whether or not they would like that? Okay, cool. And
we're at 100%, man.
Yeah. I can also then communicate with the folks that signed up but didn't participate. I'll send them, the resources that you provided, maybe your slide deck as well, Jodi, and the recording. And then maybe we can look at a few weeks out for that effective sentences. And that would give those folks time to kind of catch up on and watch the recording and things.
Sure. Yeah, I'm flexible. Okay, does anybody have any questions? No?
Thanks so
Okay.
much.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
thank you.
so
It was a treat. It was a treat to meet you guys. I love all 3 of those organizations. So thank you for the work that you do to make our community awesome. Okay.
Thank you, Jodi.
Thanks.
Bye.
Aubrey, good to meet you. Good to see you, Leah.
Nice to meet you.
Bye.